Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg saying he is sorry and vowing to run an investigation of what's going on. Deirdre Bolton has more. Deirdre.
Response to this most recent user data controversy, Facebook founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg saying, okay, we made some mistakes. There's more to do. We need to step it up. And we saw a longer clip from that interview there. So he said he would be willing to testify in front of Congress if it was the right thing to do. He put a little qualifier on that. And he said he did not oppose some forms of regulation, which for the record, I think are coming, specifically around ad transparency, which is a project that Facebook actually has been working on since last fall, but you can be sure that's going to be sped up. So Zuckerberg did pledge some tweaks to the system. He says Facebook will investigate, look for potential abuses of personal data by app developers. But there's a lot of people who are saying, we thought they were doing that to begin with. So that is one thing that Facebook is taking some criticism over. A lot of people saying Facebook had some rules, but just didn't enforce them. So we do have this idea that it may be a start, but significant changes have to happen and have to happen faster. One analyst who has a sell rating on the stock says Facebook is exhibiting signs of systemic mismanagement, which is a new concern and one we had not contemplated until recently. So the Facebook board understands the crisis as well. In fact, it put out its own statement late last night. The lead director said that Zuckerberg and, of course, the COO, Sheryl Sandberg, are working along with the rest of the Facebook leadership to build stronger user protections. They have built the company and our business and are instrumental to its future. My translation was, don't try to force either of these people out, although it would be very tough to get rid of Mark Zuckerberg, given the share structure of the company. He owns about 400 million shares, most of which are Class B. That gives him a lot of power over the board and its decisions. But this user data controversy, really the latest setback, strike two, if you like, and Facebook struggling to respond to this criticism, really the past 18 months, about a range of issues, including manipulation of its platform by foreign actors and the spread of fabricated news stories and user privacy. So Facebook does say it's going to notify these tens of millions of users whose personal information was collected and shared with Cambridge Analytica. And as we've been talking about, that's about 50 million Facebook users. The next worry, though, and we took this right from our colleagues at the Wall Street Journal, is disenchanted users. Just to what extent? We've seen these hashtag delete Facebook on a lot of people's pages or Twitter feeds. Will people really do it? Does that include deleting Instagram and WhatsApp, which, of course, Facebook owns? And then for me, this is a business issue, right? If Facebook is serious about tweaking all of these issues, is it going to pay real money to human engineers to sit there and fix these problems? After we saw that Russian intervention, if you remember, David, Facebook said, okay, we'll hire 1,000 editors to go through the news. And a lot of people said 1,000 editors, that means nothing with 2 billion users. So the bottom line is, will Facebook accept thinner profit margins to pay humans to basically work on engineering projects and make the system tighter?
Deirdre, very quickly, there's another bottom line here, which is of great concern. Not everybody cares about Facebook, but everybody cares about the Internet. And if there are regulations on the Internet to do what Facebook couldn't do in terms of protecting the data, is that going to slow down the Internet?
Yeah, this opens the door to tech being regulated in new ways, which certainly Silicon Valley wanted to avoid. And if we're honest about it, probably shareholders in tech firms wanted to avoid, David.
Deirdre Bolton, good stuff, Deirdre. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.